Welcome back to Coffeesodes. We're brewing up a deep dive for you today.
Sounds delicious. I'm ready to dive in.
This is our 13th episode, and we're tackling a topic that's been generating a lot of buzz. The potential of antioxidants to treat Alzheimer's disease.
It's a fascinating area of research, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And as always, you can find more details about the research we'll be discussing in the episode description.
And a quick reminder that this deep dive is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for advice from a qualified healthcare professional.
Now, you've been digging deep into the research on antioxidants and Alzheimer's, and one concept that keeps popping up is oxidative stress.
Yeah, it's a key player in the Alzheimer's story.
For those of us who aren't biochemistry experts, could you give us a simple explanation of what oxidative stress is and how it affects the brain?
Sure. Imagine our brains are like these incredibly busy cities with neurons constantly firing and transmitting information. All that activity requires a lot of energy.
Makes sense. Our brains are always working, even when we're not consciously aware of it.
Right. And just like any energy-intensive process, there are byproducts. In this case, those byproducts are reactive oxygen species, or ROS.
ROS. Those sound kind of ominous.
Well, they can be. ROS are molecules that are missing an electron, which makes them highly reactive and unstable. They're basically on a mission to steal an electron from other molecules.
So it's like a molecular game of hot potato, but instead of a potato, it's a missing electron causing all sorts of trouble.
Exactly. Now, in a healthy brain, there's a balance between these ROS and the body's natural defense system, which includes antioxidants. But when that balance tips in favor of ROS, we get what's called oxidative stress.
So it's like the bad guys, the ROS, are overwhelming the good guys, the antioxidants.
That's a great way to put it, and unfortunately, the brain is particularly vulnerable to this kind of damage.
Why is the brain more susceptible than other parts of the body?
Well, for one, the brain uses a huge amount of oxygen, about 20% of the body's total supply.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is, and that high oxygen consumption means there's more opportunity for ROS to be produced. Plus, the brain is rich in fats, which are particularly susceptible to damage from oxidative stress.
Okay, starting to see the connection here. But how does all of this specifically relate to Alzheimer's disease?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. Oxidative stress is implicated in a whole cascade of events that contribute to the development of Alzheimer's.
Okay, I'm all ears.
One of the hallmarks of Alzheimer's is the buildup of amyloid plaques and tau tangles in the brain.
Right, those abnormal protein clumps that disrupt brain function.
Exactly. And research suggests that oxidative stress can actually contribute to the formation of these plaques and tangles.
Oh.
ROS can damage the proteins that make up these clumps, leading to their misfolding and aggregation.
So it's not just that the plaques and tangles are forming, but oxidative stress is making them worse.
Precisely. It's a vicious cycle. The plaques and tangles themselves can also trigger further oxidative stress, creating a sort of snowball effect.
A snowball effect. That
Yeah.
sounds pretty scary.
Yeah. It can be. And it's not just Alzheimer's. Oxidative stress is considered a common factor in other neurodegenerative diseases too, like Parkinson's, Huntington's, and even ALS.
So it's a major player in a whole host of neurological disorders.
Exactly. And that's why understanding oxidative stress and how to combat it is so crucial for protecting brain health.
And that's where those antioxidants come in, right? They're like the superheroes of the brain fighting off those ROS villains.
That's a great analogy. Antioxidants are molecules that can neutralize ROS by donating an electron without becoming unstable themselves.
So they're like the selfless heroes who sacrifice themselves to save the day.
You got it. They step in, neutralize the threat, and prevent further damage.
This sounds promising. So are antioxidants the key to preventing or even treating Alzheimer's?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. While many antioxidants have shown promise in preclinical studies, meaning in labs and using animal models.
The results in humans haven't been as clear-cut.
Yeah, the results of human clinical trials have been a bit mixed, unfortunately.
A mixed bag. That's a bit disappointing. Why do you think there's this disconnect between the lab and real-world results?
There are a few possible explanations. For one, the human brain is incredibly complex. Alzheimer's is a multifaceted disease, and oxidative stress is just one piece of the puzzle.
Right, so even if antioxidants are tackling the ROS, there might be other processes going on that contribute to the disease.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of individual variability. Everyone has a unique genetic makeup, lifestyle, and overall health status, which can all influence how their body responds to antioxidants.
So what works for one person might not work for another.
Precisely. And then there's the elephant in the room. the blood-brain barrier.
Ah, yes, that formidable fortress protecting our brains.
It's a highly selective barrier that prevents many substances, including some antioxidants, from entering the brain. So even if we're consuming antioxidants through our diet or supplements, they might not be reaching the brain where they're needed most.
That's a major hurdle. So if antioxidants are the heroes, it seems like the blood-brain barrier is a pretty tough villain to defeat.
It definitely poses a challenge. But the good news is that researchers are developing some ingenious strategies to bypass or even overcome this barrier.
Okay, go ahead and talk. This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
What are some of these cutting-edge approaches?
Well, one promising area is the development of nanoparticles.
Nanoparticles.
Yeah. Imagine these tiny particles as Trojan horses carrying antioxidants across the blood-brain barrier and delivering them directly to the brain cells.
Nanoparticles. That sounds futuristic.
It is cutting-edge stuff. Another fascinating approach involves creating special conjugates.
Conjugates, what are those?
These are basically antioxidants that have been chemically modified to improve their ability to cross the blood-brain barrier.
So it's like giving those antioxidants a VIP pass to get past the brain's security.
Exactly. And these conjugates can be incredibly specific, targeting particular areas of the brain affected by Alzheimer's.
Wow, that's incredible. It sounds like the future of antioxidant therapy for Alzheimer's is all about getting those powerful molecules to the right place at the right time.
You got it. It's a combination of identifying the most effective antioxidants and developing innovative ways to deliver them where they can make the biggest difference.
Before we get too deep into those delivery systems, can we talk a bit more about the antioxidants themselves? I mean, there's a whole world of them out there. Are some more promising than others when it comes to Alzheimer's?
Oh, absolutely. Lots of antioxidants show potential, but some really stand out in the research, especially when you look at how they target the specific stuff happening in Alzheimer's.
Okay, so spill the beans. Which ones are the stars of the show?
One that really catches my eye is CoQ10. You might also see it called ubiquinone.
CoQ10, okay. Got it.
It's a powerhouse antioxidant. And get this, it's naturally found in our mitochondria.
Hold on, mitochondria. Those are those tiny powerhouses inside our cells, right? The ones we talked about earlier.
Exactly. And remember how we said that when those mitochondria go haywire, they can pump out a ton of those ROS? Well, CoQ10 is like essential for keeping those mitochondria running smoothly.
So CoQ10 is kind of like a mechanic for our cellular powerhouses, making sure they're not spewing out too much exhaust.
Perfect analogy. Studies suggest that taking CoQ10 as a supplement might actually help shield those mitochondria from damage and reduce that oxidative stress in the brain.
So it's like giving those little powerhouses a tune-up. I like it. What else is on the all-star list?
Well, this one might be more familiar. Curcumin.
Curcumin. Wait a minute, isn't that from turmeric? Like the spice?
Yep. The golden spice that makes curry so vibrant.
No way. I love turmeric lattes, so
Yeah.
I'm already getting my daily dose right.
Maybe. But curcumin really is impressive. It has powerful anti-inflammatory properties on top of being a great antioxidant. And there's research suggesting it can actually cross that blood-brain barrier and directly target those amyloid plaques and tau tangles.
Wow, so it's like a multitasker, fighting inflammation and oxidative stress, and it can actually get into the brain where it needs to be. Curcumin is sounding like a real superhero.
It's definitely a strong contender. Now here's another one you've probably heard of, vitamin E, specifically the form called alpha-tocopherol.
Okay, vitamin E. I know that one's supposed to be good for you.
It is. It's a fat-soluble vitamin, and its superpower is protecting cell membranes from oxidative damage. And remember, the brain is full of fats, so this is especially important up there.
So vitamin E is like reinforcing the brain's defenses,
Yeah,
making it tougher against those ROS attacks.
exactly. And then there's resveratrol.
Resveratrol. Okay, I'm not sure I know that one.
You might be more familiar with its source, red wine and grapes.
Hold on, are you telling me red wine is good for my brain?
Now let's not get ahead of ourselves. Moderation is always key, of course, but resveratrol has been shown to activate these things called sirtuins, which are proteins that play a role in how long our cells live and how well they handle stress.
So it's not a free pass to empty the wine cellar, but a little resveratrol might be giving our brains a boost. Interesting.
It definitely warrants further research, but with all these promising antioxidants, you might be wondering why we haven't cracked the code on Alzheimer's yet.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. If these antioxidants are so amazing, why haven't we found a cure?
Well, it comes back to those challenges we talked about before. The human brain is incredibly complex, and Alzheimer's is a multifaceted disease. Individual variability also plays a huge role. And of course, we can't forget about that blood-brain barrier.
Right, it's not as simple as popping a pill and calling it a day.
Exactly. It's about understanding all the intricate mechanisms going on in Alzheimer's and figuring out the right combination of antioxidants to effectively target those mechanisms.
That makes sense. So, what are researchers focusing on now? What's the next frontier in finding effective treatments?
Well, one really exciting area is the development of what we call combination therapies. Remember how we talked about Alzheimer's being a multifaceted disease?
Yeah, like it's not just one thing going wrong, but a whole bunch of things.
Exactly. So, researchers are exploring the idea of using multiple antioxidants together, antioxidants that work synergistically, to address all those different aspects of the disease.
So it's like instead of sending in one lone superhero, we're assembling a whole team of them with different superpowers.
That's a great way to think about it. Imagine combining, say, CoQ10 to boost those mitochondria, curcumin to tackle inflammation and those amyloid plaques, and vitamin E to shield the cell membranes. The idea is that these antioxidants, working as a team, can have a much more powerful and comprehensive effect than any single antioxidant could on its own.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's not just about finding the right antioxidants, but it's about finding the right combination for each person.
Exactly. And that's where the idea of personalized medicine really comes into play. Researchers are working to pinpoint biomarkers that can predict how an individual will respond to different antioxidant therapies.
Biomarkers, like clues within our bodies that can guide treatment decisions.
Exactly. These biomarkers could be anything from genetic factors to levels of oxidative stress, even specific proteins in the blood.
So it's about moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach and tailoring the treatment to each person's unique needs.
You got it. By understanding a person's individual risk factors and how their body responds to different antioxidants, doctors could create truly personalized treatment plans that are much more likely to be effective.
That's amazing. It sounds like the future of Alzheimer's treatment is all about precision and personalization.
It really is, and this personalized approach goes beyond just antioxidants. Researchers are exploring it with other therapies too, like medications and even lifestyle changes.
So it's a holistic approach, considering all the pieces of the puzzle and creating a plan that addresses each individual's unique situation.
Exactly. It's about giving people the power to take control of their brain health and make informed decisions about their treatment options.
This is all incredibly exciting, but let's not forget about that blood-brain barrier. We talked about how it can block some antioxidants from getting where they need to be. How are researchers tackling that challenge, especially with these personalized therapies and combination treatments?
That's where those innovative delivery systems we touched on earlier come in. Nanoparticles and conjugates. Picture this. You've used those biomarkers and found the perfect combination of antioxidants for a specific person.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Now you need to get those antioxidants past that blood-brain barrier, right into the brain cells where they're needed most. That's where nanoparticles and conjugates come in.
So how do these nanoparticles and conjugates actually work?
We'll think of nanoparticles as tiny delivery trucks, microscopic ones. They can carry those antioxidants across the blood-brain barrier.
Like tiny little Trojan horses sneaking those antioxidants past the brain's defenses.
Exactly. Researchers are designing these nanoparticles with special properties that allow them to slip past the blood-brain barrier and release their antioxidant cargo directly into the brain.
That's incredible. It's like science fiction coming to life. And what about those conjugates? How are they different?
Conjugates are more about targeted delivery. Basically, you attach an antioxidant to a special carrier molecule. This carrier molecule has the ability to bind to specific receptors on brain cells.
So it's like giving those antioxidants a key to unlock the door to the brain.
Precisely. And because these conjugates are so specific, they can deliver the antioxidants directly to the cells that need them most, which can help minimize any potential side effects.
This is all so promising. It feels like we're on the cusp of a major breakthrough in how we treat Alzheimer's and other brain diseases.
It's definitely an exciting time to be following this research. Nanoparticles and conjugates really do have the potential to change the game, and the research is moving incredibly fast. We're seeing more and more clinical trials popping up, investigating the safety and effectiveness of these delivery systems.
This is definitely a field to watch. But before we get too carried away with the excitement, it's important to remember that this research is still ongoing. There's still a lot of unanswered questions about Alzheimer's and the best way to treat it.
Absolutely. It's so important to approach this with a healthy dose of skepticism. Don't believe every headline or miracle cure you see. Alzheimer's is complex, and there's no magic bullet.
So it's about staying informed, following the research, and making evidence-based decisions about our health.
Exactly. And that includes talking to your doctor or other healthcare professional for personalized advice.
So it sounds like the future of Alzheimer's research is really embracing this idea of personalized medicine, combining a power of antioxidants with these high-tech delivery systems. It's pretty amazing to think about how far we've come in understanding this disease.
It really is. And what we've talked about today is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more happening in this field. Researchers are looking into everything from the gut microbiome's role in brain health to the potential of gene therapies.
It's mind-blowing. So many possibilities. But even with all these advancements, prevention is still key, right?
Absolutely. While all these brilliant minds are searching for treatments, there's a lot we can do right now to lower our risk of Alzheimer's.
Okay, I'm ready for the action plan. What are the top lifestyle changes to keep our brains healthy?
Well, a lot of it is stuff you've probably heard before, but it's worth repeating because it really does make a difference. First and foremost, a healthy diet. Focus on those whole, unprocessed foods. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins.
So the Mediterranean diet strikes again. Seems like it's good for just about everything.
It's a winner for a reason. Those colorful fruits and veggies are packed with antioxidants and all sorts of brain-boosting nutrients. And don't forget healthy fats, like olive oil, avocados, nuts. They're essential for our brains to function properly.
Got it. Load up on the good stuff. What else can we do?
Regular exercise is another big one. And it's not just good for your heart and body, it's amazing for your brain too. Increases blood flow to the brain, stimulates the growth of new brain cells. It can even help with cognitive function.
So those daily walks are doing double duty.
Yeah.
Keeping our bodies and brains in shape. What about keeping our minds sharp? Any tips there?
Absolutely. You got to challenge your brain regularly, do things that are mentally stimulating, read, learn a new language, do puzzles, play games. Anything that makes you think.
So it's like a workout for our brains. Got to keep those neurons firing.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of social connections. Staying socially active can help protect against cognitive decline.
So call a friend, join a club, volunteer. Good for the brain and the soul.
Exactly. It's about living a full, vibrant life that nourishes both your body and your mind.
This has been an amazing deep dive into the world of antioxidants in Alzheimer's disease. We've covered so much. From oxidative stress and promising antioxidants to these cutting-edge delivery systems like nanoparticles and conjugates, it's clear that the research is moving fast and there's so much hope for the future.
It really has been a pleasure talking about this with you. And remember, our deep dive is just the beginning. Keep exploring, stay curious. There's always more to learn about Alzheimer's and how to keep our brains healthy.
That's a great point. And to leave our listeners with something to think about, remember that knowledge is power. The more we understand about brain health, the better equipped we are to make healthy choices and live long, vibrant lives.
Didn't say it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep those coffee cups full and those brains engaged.